We've got a special session as we travel to Louisville, Kentucky with Ani Difranco next here on the World Cafe. We're really happy to be in Louisville, Kentucky today, the studios of WFPK, because they've got a beautiful performance space and because this was the time in the Ani Difranco's Endless Tour that we had a chance to hook up with her, and we are very excited to talk about her evolution and her album Evolve and touring solo and so much more in these times, as we are extremely happy to join the audience of WFPK listeners in welcoming Ani Difranco to the World Cafe.
I walk in stride with people much taller than me, and partly it's the boost, but mostly it's my chi, and I'm becoming transfixed with nature and my part in it, which I believe just signifies I'm finally waking up. And that moth outside my kitchen door, she's bonkers for that bare bulb, flying round in circles, bashing in her exoskull, and out in the woods she navigates fine by the moon. But get her around a light bulb and she's doomed, and she is trying to evolve. She's trying to evolve. She's trying to evolve. She's trying to evolve. Yes. Right away, let's get talking reefer madness, like some arrogant government can't by any stretch of the imagination outlaw a plant. Yes, their supposed authority over nature is a dream. Come on, people, we've got to come clean, 'cause they are locking our sons and our daughters in cages. They're taking by the thousands our lives from under us. It's a crash course in religious fundamentals. Now let's all go to war, get some bang for our buck, and I am trying to evolve. I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to evolve. Gunning for a high score in the land of dreams. Morbid bluish white consumers ogling luminous screens on the trail of forgetting, cruising without a care. The jet set on up by that pesky jet lag, and our life is boiled down to an hour or two. And when someone pulls a camera out of a bag, and I am trying to evolve. I'm trying to evolve, evolve, evolve. Yes, I am trying to evolve. To right here, right now, I'm trying to evolve, evolve, evolve. Hey, I'm under, 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 hey, under, hey, good morning. I walk like I'm on a mission, 'cause that's the way I grow. I got more and more to do, yes. I got less and less to prove. It took me so long to realize that I don't take good pictures, 'cause I have the kind of beauty that moves, and I am trying to evolve. I'm trying to evolve, evolve. I just want to evolve. I'm trying to evolve. One more time. Hey, under, 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 yeah.
Ani D's on the World Cafe today. Ani Difranco is our guest, and that's Evolve, which turns into the title track of the new album, in a way. I want to talk about evolving in so many ways, because one of the things about this record is it was the sort of the farewell to this great band that you've been touring with so long. Talk a little bit about that band and what it was like.
Oh, goodness. Well, it was like a big, squishy family, which is kind of how I like it. And so I seek out just the most beautiful and musical people. And I learned so much from working with them, not just from playing with them every night, but also just from hanging out with great musicians and playing each other records and bringing each other music. And so
musicians have tapes that none of the rest of us ever hear, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a whole era of the band where we all had to bring in like incriminating early years. Ooh. Yeah. See who could out embarrass each other. But
well, part of the things I've heard you say about that band is it was a learning experience for everybody, because you'd never put your songs to a horn section and all that you had going on. What was that challenge like? I mean, did they help you with that?
Well, I mean, it was it's hard to describe exactly how the process was. I mean, it was certainly very collective, because I learned over years of working with musicians that to say, play it as I would play it, it doesn't work. That's how I would do it. So it has to be a combination of what I hear and my vision and what is natural and inherent to each of the people that I'm playing with. So there was a lot of collaboration, but most of the arranging was, kind of fell on my shoulders, because somebody, whenever you have that critical mass of people on stage, somebody's got to be leading it. So that was a challenge, learning how to be a band leader. And I learned a lot from Maceo Parker, where he would just like the right foot behind, let's go to the bridge, He
told you those secrets, huh?
No, you just got to watch.
Oh, okay.
You got to watch.
Well, it's there was a live album with the band, and then there was this one, which this has come out after the live one, but from reading, I understand that they were kind of done at the same time.
Yeah.
But my point about evolution is, here you are doing this album that is going to be kind of a farewell to this band in a way, and you're going to have to do these songs solo. So is there kind of... did you give any thought to that, or am I giving you
Well,
too much
I don't
credit?
really have to worry about that too much, because I just write more songs. I mean, since that record, I already have like a whole new record worth of songs that, were just born on the acoustic guitar and will probably die there. So, I'm sort of getting back to being my own rhythm section and whatnot on the guitar. So.
And you are one funky rhythm section, I must say. I mean,
thank you, sir.
Wow. The other aspect is, and now you're back touring solo again, when you inhabit a stage solo, or you inhabit a stage no matter what. Did you miss it? Did you miss the solo thing with an audience? Is it different?
I didn't know I did, but man, yeah, it's so different, and I just am loving it so much. I had no idea. And it wouldn't have occurred to me, except that we scheduled a little solo tour, like a week and a half, a year ago. And I panicked for about a week and 3 days, and then on the last day I finally settled back into that thing of being alone with an audience and really focus. Like, it took me a while to realize how much freedom I had again, in terms of making musical left turns or So I just find it so challenging and invigorating now, taking a lot of what I learned from working with my band and just, applying it to a much more, basic situation.
Yeah, but even more intimate in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Well, you've switched guitars. When I heard you warming up, this is the less bottom end, less funky guitar. But is that accurate?
Well, this is actually a baritone guitar right here.
Okay.
So, but I thought I'd play a kind of less funky tune called Merrow. answer came like a shot in the back while you were running from your lesson, which might explain why years later all you could remember was the terror of the question. Plus you weren't listening. You were stockpiling canned goods, making a bomb shelter of our basement. And I can't believe you let the moral go by while you were soaking in the product placement. And where was your conscience? Yes, where was your consciousness? And where did you put all those letters that you wrote to yourself but could not address? I'm a good kisser, and you're a fast learner, and that kind of thing could float us for a pretty long time. And then one day you'd realize you've memorized my phone number, and you'll call it and find it's a disconnected line, 'cause I got tossed out the window of love's El Camino, and I shattered into a shower of sparks on the curb. You were smoking me, weren't you? Between your yellow fingers, you just inhale and exhale without saying a word. And where was your conscience? Where was your consciousness? And where did you put all those letters that you wrote to yourself but could not address? And there's a smorgasbord of unspoken poisons, oh, childhood potions that are all bottled up. And so one by one I'm dusting off labels, I'm uncorking bottles and filling up cups. So go ahead and have a taste of your own medicine, and I'll have a taste of mine. But first let's toast to the lists that we hold in our fists of the things that we promise to do differently next time. 'Cause the answer came like a shot in the back while you were running from your lesson, which might explain why years later all you could remember was the terror of the question. Plus you weren't listening. Oh, I'm not listening to you anymore. No, my head is too sore and my heart's perforated, and I'm mired in the marrow of my, well, ain't that funny bone, learning how to be alone and devastated. And where was my conscience? Where was my consciousness? And where do I put all these letters that I wrote to myself but could not address?
Ani Difranco is live on WFPK and live on the World Cafe. How do you put together a set list? So that's from what? Is it from Reveling or Reckoning?
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah, Reveling, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you have
rocket science.
I mean, how do you have so much music?
Yeah, a lot of songs and a lot of tunings, you know, so it's got to, my friend Reg here, who keeps me and my guitars up to speed. You know, I try to make it flow so that the guitars are not being wrenched back and forth. So it's, you know, and then there's little things like content or
Yeah.
to go into that list too. So I spend a lot of time, way too much time making set lists every day.
Do you try to make them flow in any narrative fashion?
Yeah, you know what? Take people on a journey.
Yeah.
Over the course of an evening, that makes some kind of sense. Although, yeah, it's.
Well, that song and many of your songs have personal politics and global politics or national, however you view politics in one. And I was. There was a point in your life when you had the revelation that they were intertwined.
That they are one.
Yeah. Do you remember how that came to you?
Well, I don't think it. I think it was just always there.
Yeah.
You know, all of those questions about the relationship between the personal and the political, and have always seemed sort of artificial to me, like just separating them, as though everything that you experience all day long is not political. You know, or what you wear and what you eat and what you do, and so. You know, I mean, I think maybe just the mere fact of being female kind of brings it right home to your body, how personal the political truly is. You know, and then in terms of the connection between music and politics, that also seems to be the same thing to me. I mean, I think of music as a kind of an activism, even not necessarily music that's overtly political or speaking to, you know, big P politics issues, but just the act of bringing people together and trying to bring them there to joy, you know, and inspiring and connecting. And that seems like the same spirit that activists work with. And so I've always thought of it as one.
Well, there are things that musicians express that the rest of us can't. We really need that. So that's, well, which brings me to an interesting question. I was reading on the bulletin board of one of our World Cafe stations. There was an interesting series of things about a concert you did where there were some members of the station and Ani fans who had trouble with the political content of the concert and ended up I guess leaving or at least arguing about it. So there was a really neat discussion about would you be surprised that people would come and love your music and not get into your political point of view?
It's people are surprising, you know, all of us. We're just such freaks, even the ones that look normal. And yeah, it's amazing that people come at my music from every way there is to come at it, you know. And I've gotten recently, you know, I personally am against war as a concept, let alone as an act. And so that's where I've been coming from on stage lately. But I've gotten letters from people who are in the military who are also fans of my music saying, you know, their perspective on things, and, you know, actually responded to a few transmissions.
Ani Difranco is our guest today on the World Cafe, and I hesitate to call the songs from Evolve new because I'll bet you got a bunch of new ones since then, but you want to do another one from that?
Sure, yeah. Got a tune here from that record called Second Intermission. Second intermission, anticipation. You know the third act, small talk drops out of the play. You're standing in the lobby, tightening your tourniquet, waiting for it. And the bell sounds and the lights flash. And there's all these questions milling around, there's no time to ask. No blissful little misleading, she's learning about bleeding. But what is love if not exquisite, our only saving grace? Or is it in somewhere in your iris, the reflection of my surprises? Stroll past every last do not enter and touch me at my epicenter. And a bell sounds and the lights flash. There's all these questions milling around, there's no time to ask. And I'm always trying to get there, I never really get there, to that quiet place where I accept myself. Instead, I'm deep inside some high school locker room, no clothing, popping the zits of my self-loathing under fluorescent lights, and the bell sounds and the lights flash. There's all these questions milling around, you're too ashamed to ask. Second intermission, anticipation. You know the third act, small talk drops out of the play. You're standing in the lobby, tightening your tourniquet, waiting for it, waiting for it.
A song about the second intermission or the third act, I guess. Yeah. Really, in a lot of ways.
Whichever comes first.
Do you remember when you wrote that? What the situation was?
No.
Yeah. But you loved that metaphor.
Make it up for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I wrote it on the road, so God knows it was the basement of some theater, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good song. Good song. There's some actually cool things since we've spoken have happened. One of them is the things I love is the Soul Live version of "Joyful Girl."
I love that band. Yeah.
Yeah, they're which Dave Matthews sang, but Soul Live does. It's great changes. You write jazz tunes. I mean, I've been listening to you. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, well. Thanks.
Well, there are two aspects of that. One of them is I love what you've always done is in little internal rhyme things. Little I would say you'd be influenced by hip hop, but you were doing it before hip hop's ascendancy. So
well, yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely an influence. I think I have influences. Even I don't know. It's just all coming in and getting screwed up in there and coming back out. So. But I was just listening to a John Fahey record the other day, and the last that he recorded, I guess, beautiful record, and I was listening to it, and it reminded me of me, my playing, and then it occurred to me that I can picture all these John Fahey album covers from when I was my father's records that I don't consciously remember hearing, but I must have, because there it was, like, I think he's a big influence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what aspect of his playing is he's? I remember all those older things where he was very regular in his playing, and you're very syncopated. So
yeah. Well, I don't know. I heard an influence, but I might be wrong.
Well, I doubt it. Well, you were warming up on something which I think is a new tune.
Yeah.
Which got me thinking. That's actually when I started thinking about the jazz influences. This is like a standard. This is a beautiful song.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the new ones that I wrote since the band went off. Turn beautiful, but I feel a little less so each time your love is so colorful. It flashes like a neon sign, but I finally drove out where the sky is dark enough to see stars, and I found I missed no one. Just listening to the swishing of distant cars, so I hope I never see the ocean again, pushing and pulling at me as I go deeper and deeper in, till I'm so far from my shore, so far from what I came here for. I let you surround me, I let you drown me out with your din. And then I learned how to swim. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. I was floating above myself, watching her do just what you wanted, poor little friendly ghost, wondering why her whole house feels haunted. I told myself I was strong enough, that I had plenty of blood to give, and each elbow cradle I needle. But listless and faint ain't no way to live, so I hope I've never seen the ocean again, pushing and pulling at me, and I go deeper and deeper in, till I'm so far from my shore, so far from what I came here for. I let you surround me, I let you drown me out with your din. And then I learned how to swim. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. You keep telling me I'm beautiful, but I feel a little less so each time your love is so colorful. It flashes like a neon sign, but I finally drove out where the sky is dark enough to see stars, and I found I missed no one. Just listening to the swishing of distant cars. Thanks, man.
Honey, what's that one called?
Swim.
Swim, a new one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for what you do, and the joy and emotion and everything you bring to everybody. And thanks to our audience here in the WFPK for helping us out today, and Ani Difranco. Ani Difranco's new album is called Evolve, and as always, it is on Righteous Babe Records. You can find it at our World Cafe CD store, which is on the web at worldcafecds.com. And here is Ani's tune, Joyful Girl. Dave Matthews does vocals with the band Soul Live.